We saw Pacific Rim Uprising.
And it was full of titans and behemoths and leviathans alike. But was it as good as the original? Well, we're gonna let you know.
So if you haven't seen the first one, the Pacific Rim movies are basically about kaiju, which are monsters from the deep that have come up through a portal in the bottom of the Pacific Ocean. And they fight humanity. They're giant monsters, kind of like Godzilla. And on humanity's side, fighting against the kaiju and defending humanity is...
Jaegers, which are giant robots that need two pilots to pilot them because they're so big. And they need to, like, have a neural binding sort of thing. It's quite convoluted, but it's sort of fun. So I start off your boy, John Boyega. And he's the son of the commander in the first Pacific Rim, Stacker Pentecost, but he's not like his father. We start off and he's a bit of a party boy.
Yeah.
Not one for following orders, really. Gets into a bit of trouble when he's trying to procure parts from decommissioned Jaegers, and he runs into Omara something Namani. And she's a scrappy little runaway girl. Yeah.
She's living in a junkyard and basically builds her own Jaeger out of spare parts from the Jaegers destroyed in the first film.
Yeah.
So the plot continues with the development of these new Jaegers that are drone piloted, so they don't have humans inside them, they're just remote controlled. And there's an evil corporation that are developing these drones, and stuff goes wrong, and the kaiju end up coming back, and there's kind of like a...
Yep, all hell just breaks loose.
So the first Pacific Rim is directed by the infamous Del Toro, but this film isn't. He's still a producer, but this film is directed by an up-and-coming director. Well, I think it's his directorial debut for Stephen DeKnight. He's previously been a showrunner on shows like Marvel's Daredevil. But this is his first film that he's directed.
One thing that I think, at least for me personally, that shone through is that because Del Toro has a kind of signature look about his films, and he's someone who's very design conscious, I feel like this film lacks a little bit. It doesn't have the same sort of design sensibilities. So that's something worth noting going in. If you wanted the...
If you love the art direction
and the art directions, then it's not quite there in this one.
It basically just tries to copy some of that from the original, but has less of it.
Yeah, exactly. Three of the main newcomers to this film, John Boyega,
Your boy,
Scott Eastwood, and Kaylee Spaney, a very young girl, and she does a pretty good job. Scott Eastwood is largely forgettable, to be honest.
Bit of a nothing character.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was his fault entirely. His character just feels like it doesn't have a lot going on.
Yeah. He's sort of meant to be a foil for John Boyega's character, but it doesn't really come to fruition, to be honest.
But John Boyega, he really shines.
Yeah. I was not sold on John Boyega's prior performances that I'd seen in Star Wars, but I really do prefer him in this.
This is definitely his best film that I've seen him in.
Yeah.
If you really like John Boyega, you should watch this film. You will love it.
Yeah, he feels a lot more genuine in this.
Yeah.
And
he's got his British accent. He's not putting on an accent for this film.
It sounds good. I love his accent. It works for him.
You're having a laugh.
So we've also got Vern Gorman, Charlie Day, and Rinko Kikuchi coming back from the first film. I'm really glad that they reused these characters and didn't just introduce a whole bunch of new people. And they actually gave them quite significant parts in this film.
Yeah.
We're not going to go into any detail because it's a bit of a spoiler territory, but they play quite big parts.
Yeah, and I think it's good that they do because they were central to the story and elements of the story in the previous one. So it's good that it's not just we're trying to remake the first one. It's like there is a genuine continuation of the story and a conscious effort to build on the mythos that was established in the first Pacific Rim.
That's what I really enjoyed about this film, especially being a sequel. We quite often see sequels that are basically a rehash of the first film.
Yeah.
People will analyze the script or whatever, or the film of the original, and then basically be like, hey, we need to hit these points at this time.
Yeah.
Transformers is very famous for that. Basically, every Transformers film has the same kind of plot points at the same time all the way through. This film did really well to develop more on the story and even add more to the original film.
the sort of penultimate fight, or the ultimate fight, I guess you could say, is I'd say it's probably worth the cost of admission.
Yeah.
I mean, from
It's worth the build up.
Yeah, like the most of the third act, I'd say all of the third act is really just good stuff in my book.
Yeah.
Pretty flawless. Didn't mess with there's no, I guess, superfluous plot lines or anything. Everything's sort of been sorted out. All the characters are in their place, and everything just works. So it's all build up. There are good plot points. There are ones that are sort of pointless, but by the third act, everything sort of congeals into a really good, enjoyable, blockbuster knockout punch. So yeah, it's a great finale, but then everything prior, it's a middling to good quality. That's sort of my take on it anyway.
Well said, Sanjay. So some other smaller points that I noticed. The CGI in this film is really good. It's actually probably a little bit better than the first one, which is great for a film where everything is basically CGI.
Yeah.
The score is really good. It's basically just the same one as the first film, but it's a really underrated score.
Agreed.
And I was very happy to hear it again. Some of the jokes didn't land.
Yeah, agreed. There are definitely moments in the theater where there was supposed to be a joke and it was just dead silent. I was just like...
But in saying that, there were quite a few funny moments. Where
there were some
everyone
funny moments
laughed,
as well,
but,
yeah.
There were about 50-50 whether the jokes were going to land.
Yeah, I'd say about 50-50.
So to summarize, John Boyega, really good. If you like him, this is the film for you. If you love the non-stop action of the first film, you will probably be disappointed by this one. But in saying that, the character development is still quite good for the main characters, or two of the main characters. And it all pays off in the end. Amazing fight scene, great kaiju. And my score is a 7 out of 10.
Ooh, very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, similar thoughts as Adam. Kind of a mixed bag, more so, I'd say, for me. The pacing was slow, which I'm fine with. But not all the plot points were interesting. I felt that there were too many characters that were just not useful, or there was too much time spent on them that could have been used somewhere else. And design-wise, it was both a disappointment in some ways, but then by the end of it, there were some really cool designs that we got to see, and some good exercising of artistic muscles. And yeah, the climax is totally worth it. It's good fun. I didn't like this as much as the first film, and I thought there are just a few too many blips on the radar to make it like just a really strong film. So I'll give it a 6 out of 10. Just above average. Enjoyable, but it's got its flaws.
We fight! Those on top of me.
Like and subscribe, because you don't know how to work YouTube.
You should just film that.
Yeah, I did.
Sweet, that's our... Well, use that. That was great. Do what he said.
Learn YouTube.
On YouTube, if you go into the
Learn to
instructions, then you can find out how to like a video, and then you get to see us all the time. All the time. Jovial for 100 years. 100 years Jovial.
100 years of Jovial.